سید علی حسینی خامنه‌ای در راه سربلندی حرم جمهوری اسلامی ایران شخص ضعیف قوارای شهادت را می‌دید.
He thought he was safest in the daylight. For years, he had lived underground. A bunker built 30 meters beneath Tehran, an elevator that took over 5 minutes to reach it, escape tunnels branching in every direction. At night, he stayed below, hidden, untouchable. But during the day, he let his guard down. He believed the sun made him safer. He was wrong. His name was Ali Khamenei. For 36 years, he was the most powerful man in Iran, supreme leader, head of state, commander of the military, the final word on every law, every execution, every war. He had survived an assassination attempt once before in 1981, a bomb that cost him the use of his right arm. He had built a bunker no one could reach. He had access to escape tunnels that stretched across the city. He had, by every measure, made himself impossible to kill. And for months, two of the most powerful intelligence agencies on Earth were watching him anyway. Through a camera he never knew existed. Through a phone call that was never allowed to connect. Through a single habit he didn't even know he had. By the end of this story, you'll know exactly how they found him. But first, you need to understand why they were looking. It started with a meeting. Late December 2025, Mar-a-Lago, Florida, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sat down with President Donald Trump. He came with a warning. Iran, he said, was rebuilding its ballistic missile program, its nuclear enrichment capabilities. Facilities the U.S. had already struck once, 6 months earlier. Trump listened, and this time he said yes. A renewed operation, whatever it would take. This wasn't the first time this conversation had happened. Israel had wanted to strike Khamenei once before, during a 12-day war in June of 2025. That time, Trump said no. Something had changed. Within days of the Mar-a-Lago meeting, massive protests broke out across Iran. The regime's response was brutal. Thousands of protesters killed in the crackdown. The world was watching Iran's government grow more unstable, more violent, more isolated. No one knew yet that the countdown had already begun. This didn't start months ago. It started decades ago. In 2001, Israel's prime minister gave his spy chief a single instruction: make Iran the priority. Everything after that was patience. Year after year, Israeli intelligence found a way into Tehran's own surveillance network. The cameras Iran had built to watch its own people, to track protesters, to hunt down dissidents, had quietly been hijacked. Almost every traffic camera in the city, feeding images, encrypted, straight to servers in Tel Aviv. One camera in particular mattered more than the rest. It wasn't pointed at Khamenei. It was pointed at a parking area. An ordinary forgettable corner of his compound where his own bodyguards left their cars. That was enough. From that single angle, Israeli intelligence began building files. Where each guard lived, what hours they worked, which route they drove to get there, and most importantly, who exactly each one of them was assigned to protect. Meanwhile, Israel's Signals Intelligence Division Unit 8200 was doing something even larger, feeding billions of data points into algorithms built specifically to find patterns humans would miss. Phone signals, movement patterns, who called who and when. It's called social network analysis, mapping not just a man, but everyone connected to him. One Israeli intelligence officer described it simply: we knew Tehran like we know Jerusalem. When you know a place like the street you grew up on, you notice a single thing that's out of place. Israel had the eyes, but the CIA had something else. A human source. Someone on the ground, inside Iran, feeding confirmation
The
back to
enrichment levels
Washington.
at the facility are
Not
rising.
just
They
data,
are moving the
but
materials
certainty.
tonight.
Together, these two pictures overlapped, and through them, one detail emerged. Since the 12-day war the year before, Khamenei had grown cautious. Reclusive, he rarely left secure ground. But he had a habit, a blind spot he likely never noticed in himself. He felt safer in daylight, less exposed, less hunted. So during the day, just slightly, he let himself be seen. It was the only crack in 36 years of near-total protection. And two intelligence agencies, with cameras he didn't know were watching and a source he didn't know existed, had found it. Or then came the meeting they had been waiting for. Late February 2026, word reached the CIA. Iran's most senior officials, the defense minister, the head of the military council, the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, and others were planning to gather. Saturday morning, at a compound in Tehran, Khamenei himself was expected to attend. It was rare, almost unheard of. This many of Iran's most protected men in one place at one time. To this day, it isn't entirely clear why. Why the country's most guarded leadership chose that moment to be in the same rough location, at the exact time their enemies had spent months preparing to strike. But the CIA had its answer, and the timeline moved fast. Saturday, February 28, 2026, minutes before the strike, nearly a dozen cell towers near Khamenei's compound went dark. Not broken, disabled, on purpose. Any call to warn his guards would simply ring busy. No signal, no warning, no time. 6 in the morning, Israel time. Israeli warplanes struck first. In broad daylight, a deliberate break from how these operations usually happen. Roughly 30 precision munitions. Multiple targets. 3 separate sites hit at nearly the same moment. Coordinated, simultaneous, final. Smoke rose over Tehran. Satellite images would later show Khamenei's compound, reduced to rubble. 24 provinces were struck that day. Reports on the civilian toll vary. Some counts put it above 200, others considerably higher, but by any measure, hundreds of people died within hours. Among them, inside Khamenei's own compound, his daughter, his granddaughter, his son-in-law, his daughter-in-law. An entire family caught inside the strike meant for one man. But for over a day, no one outside the operation knew if he was actually dead. Iran's foreign ministry said he was safe and sound. State media insisted he was alive. Steadfast, they said, firm in commanding the field. Israeli officials said otherwise. They claimed his body had been found. A photograph, reportedly shown to Netanyahu himself. Back and forth it went. Alive, dead, then. Hours before Iran's own government confirmed anything, President Trump posted the news himself. Killed, he said. Justice, he called it. Iranian state television finally confirmed it on March 1st. Ali Khamenei, supreme leader of Iran for 36 years, was dead. 40 days of mourning were declared. What happened next revealed something the world hadn't expected. Iran did not grieve as one. State media called his death a martyrdom. Crowds gathered at shrines across the country, weeping, collapsing in grief. But in the streets of Tehran, and in cities far beyond Iran's borders, others celebrated. Openly, some Iranians, who had lived their entire lives under his rule, saw his death not as tragedy, but as the end of something they had waited decades for. Two realities. In the same country, on the same day. Mourning in one square, celebration in another. That contradiction is the truest picture of what Khamenei's rule actually was. Iran had no clear plan for what came next. The position beneath him, deputy supreme leader, had been abolished decades earlier. For days, an interim council held power. Then, on March 8th, the Assembly of Experts made its choice. Khamenei's own son, Mujtaba Khamenei, was named the new supreme leader of Iran. He did not attend his father's funeral. Security concerns, experts believe. A new leader, too afraid to appear in public, at the burial of the man whose title he had just inherited. The war that followed his father's death has not ended. It continues to shift, week by week, as this story is being told. That part of the story is still being written. This part, the hunt, the strike, the 36 years that ended in a single morning, is finished. And it began, quietly, with a habit almost no one noticed. A man who felt safe in the daylight, watched, for months, by people who were waiting for exactly that moment. Every story on this channel is researched carefully, because these are real people, and their stories deserve to be told right. If you want to see more of these, subscribe to the channel, and if this one moved you, hit like as well. And leave a comment. We genuinely read every single one.